In my last video, I looked at every Resident Evil game playable on 3DS, now it's the PS Vita's turn. The PS Vita has native PS1 emulation, so that allows Resident Evil 1 through 3 plus Survivor. The first 3 can be directly bought from the PS Vita store, and through third-party emulation, there's no doubt that Survivor can be played as well. And while I can't say for sure, I would be surprised if the N64 version of RE2 was not emulatable here, as I think the Vita could handle that. We skip ahead to Code Veronica, where things get interesting, as Dreamcast emulation is possible on the Vita. As of now, you can download Flycast for emulating Dreamcast games, and with the link in the description, you'll find the compatibility list for Flycast. While Code Veronica is playable, it's just that, playable. I tried it a couple months back, and it ran at about 20-ish frames. It was almost a good experience. As this software improves more and more, I'm sure one day this will lead to proper Dreamcast emulation on the Vita, which I really hope for. But in all technicality, Code Veronica is playable. Also, if you wanted to, you could check out Resident Evil 2 and 3's Dreamcast versions while on the Vita, but I see that as a bit redundant, considering the PS1 versions exist and run flawlessly. We skip ahead to Resident Evil Gaiden. Considering it's the Game Boy Color, the Vita should have no problem playing this one, as well as running the RE1 GBC port as well. RE1 Remake tragically is not playable, and neither is RE4, which I find most upsetting. Again, considering it's on everything else including Android and iOS. However, there is this tiny silver lining with that one. What you're looking at right here is a list of Android games that are theoretically able to be played on the PS Vita, with some of them already on there. RE4 Mobile, which was available on Android for a short period of time, was not too long ago on that list. It's gone now, but the list changes every now and then, so one day we might be able to play this stripped down, cursed mobile version of RE4 on the PS Vita, depending on if it ever comes back and if someone actually decides to port it over. It wouldn't be anywhere near as good as the actual Resident Evil 4, but I still feel like it's worth mentioning as it would count for this list. Tragically, no RE5 either, which I think could have worked on the Vita quite well. Ultimately, we jump to Revelations 2, and the Vita version is notorious for being a bad port of the game due to its poor visuals and atrocious frame rate. With that said, I still found it very fun and packed a lot of hours into it, despite the game being widely available to me elsewhere. I also talk about it in the same video where I discuss Revelations 1 on 3DS. There will be a link in the description of this video so you can check it out. Weirdly enough, Revelations 1 never had a Vita version, which is most interesting because it uses Capcom's own MT Framework mobile engine, which was specifically designed for use between the 3DS and Vita. Instead, we got a half-baked port of Revelations 2 that not only runs and looks poorly, but was dished out as digital-only content about a year or so after the PS Vita was deemed a flop. Again, to me, it was still fun. Ultimately, the PS Vita has 7 playable Resident Evil games, although I feel like 6.5 is more accurate due to the current state of Code Veronica, but hopefully one day that will change. Hell, if that phone port of RE4 makes its way to the Vita, then that's 8 games. I'm really surprised there weren't more mainline RE games on the Vita. As stated earlier, I think RE4 and 5 would have made for great additions to the Vita lineup, but I guess Capcom just didn't feel like it, which is a shame as they could have done some cool things with the PS Vita's hardware. Also, it's crazy to me that the 3DS has more Resident Evil games specifically designed to work on the system than the PS Vita did. The 3DS video and this one were originally supposed to be one whole video, but I guess that changed. Check out the Sponc the Spork movie, the link is in the description. And as a matter of fact, I've just begun work on Act 3. Get out of the way, Mark.
I literally can't.
I got you, Mark.
I literally can't.
Oh fuck.
Bro.
Oh fuck, I blew him up. That was my fault. That was my fault. I blew him up. I killed him.
But we can bring this back.